With you guys today, DIJONAI Carrington. After clotheslining Sophie Cunningham, running into the locker room, screaming, "That's white privilege!" Then tweeting 8/23, threatening Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever. DIJONAI Carrington now comes out and clarifies what she means when she says white privilege for the Indiana Fever.
So with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, DIJONAI Carrington just slapped the dog shit out of Sophie Cunningham. Sophie pops up. She's obviously upset. DIJONAI says, "Try me." And then look at Stephanie White. Look at her face. Look. It's mad shit. Now, number one, this is obviously a flagrant 2. It just is. By the letter of the law, you got to call a flagrant 2. We all know these refs are not.
That girl needs to be thrown out the league. She's not even a good enough player to be bringing this type of drama. She needs to be thrown out.
With just over 2 minutes left in the first quarter, Sophie Cunningham went up for a fast break layup when DIJONAI Carrington came from behind and made heavy contact. Cunningham hit the floor, and after reviewing the play, officials upgraded the foul to a flagrant 2, sending Carrington out of the game. The play immediately sparked a huge reaction online.
Sophie Cunningham, otherwise known as MAGA Barbie in the WNBA, is a superstar player. She's one of the most famous female athletes in the world because she stood up for women in women's sports, saying only biological women should be allowed to play in the WNBA. And for that, she is literally risking her life. Check this out. This is what happened to Sophie Cunningham last night when she was clotheslined by a filthy, dirty player for Chicago who has a name that I can't pronounce, or maybe I just refuse to do that. That's my right as an American. But this is a player that has attacked Caitlin Clark, gouged her eye out, that has now bloodied the face of Sophie Cunningham. And as soon as she did this, she tweeted white privilege, meaning she's declaring this is a race crime. Now, if a white woman was doing this to black women, it'd be the #1 story in the world. She'd be banned from the league forever. But somehow black women are allowed to get away with this against white women. And it's white women in the league who make themselves a target by simply standing up for traditional values and common sense.
But the controversy didn't stop with the ejection. After leaving the court, Carrington posted 2 words on social media: white privilege. She also tagged the Indiana Fever. Because the post came immediately after the foul involving Cunningham, fans and commentators quickly connected the statement to what had just happened on the court.
Goo! That's assault, brother. You can't do that. What the fuck? Is this just the default if you can't think? Or if you just like don't want to take accountability for your actions? Oh my god, this league, bro, this league. Oh, white privilege while you're wearing a bleach blonde dyed wig. I mean, the fuck? What is privileged about that? You Stone Cold Steve Austin clotheslined her ass. What about that is white privilege? The WNBA stays undefeated. It truly does. They can't get out of their own way.
Cunningham quickly got back to her feet and confronted Carrington before teammates and officials separated them. The intensity of the moment was obvious. The referees later explained that Cunningham was not penalized for her reaction, considering the severity of the contact she had just taken.
It's beyond concerning at this point how far from the plot we have actually gotten. And when I say the plot, I mean the basketball. How far from the game of basketball we have spiraled. When we're talking about the WNBA, you know, we used to joke, it's like, oh, 0 days without drama in the WNBA. This league is living up to it at a rate and a level of concern that we haven't ever had. With all the discussion.
Craziness going on in the WNBA. DIJONAI Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouled her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DIJONAI, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell do y'all think?
The biggest question became whether the contact was simply an aggressive basketball play or something more. The official's decision was clear. the contact was excessive enough to warrant a flagrant 2. Regardless of the players involved or their backgrounds, the same rules apply when dangerous contact occurs around the head and neck.
Right across the face, coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is
Get what you
lined
fucking
up
deserve.
And just getting her out of the
Lucky
way.
it wasn't a right hook.
Make no mistake about it, Carrington targeted Cunningham. She targeted her because of her political stances. She targeted Cunningham because of the praises that she keeps receiving. She targeted her with a dirty shot that had absolutely nothing to do with basketball. And then after getting ejected, she runs to the locker room to play the fucking victim card. Like she didn't try to just take off Cunningham's head in 4K. Like we all didn't just watch it happen. That is not competition. That is a grown woman swinging on someone who she disagrees with and then screaming racism when she gets held accountable for it. DiJONai Carrington needs to be held responsible, and I'm not talking about just getting ejected from the game. She deserves a suspension. Maybe she'll think twice next time before she tries to take somebody's fucking head off.
As criticism grew, Carrington clarified that she never said the foul itself was the result of white privilege. She argued that people had made that connection on their own and urged critics to think more carefully about what she actually meant. That explanation only created another wave of debate because of the timing of the original post.
Like the way Sophie Cunningham came down on her leg, she could have been injured. So they said, yo, get out of here, dog. Get out of here. Then, I don't know if y'all were looking at her lips. She was talking about, try me. Try me. Yo, you already tried Sophie? You got all the samples of Sophie. You talking about try me. What are you talking about? This lady is unhinged right now, man. This is crazy work. And it makes you wonder. It's like, dog, you were the best player for the Sky at this moment. Look how she landed on the leg. Oh my goodness. Like, you were the best player for the Sky, and you decided to do this? You weren't even thinking about the game. You was thinking about some kind of revenge or something. Somebody sent you on a mission. You were on a mission, dog. I don't know what you had going on here, but DiJONai, this is unacceptable. Disrespectful, disgusting, and I'm glad they got you up out of there. All right?
Emmanuel Aiko pushed back on Carrington's explanation, arguing that the original post lacked enough context. His point was simple. When someone posts a highly charged phrase immediately after a controversial incident and tags the team involved, people will naturally try to connect the two. If that wasn't the intended meaning, clearer wording could have prevented much of the confusion.
We have a photo from the flagrant 2 on DiJONai Carrington against Sophie Cunningham where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally because, again, this is a clothesline. It's a flagrant 2.
The controversy grew even bigger when former Fever teammate Sydney Colson reacted publicly to the incident. Instead of expressing concern for Cunningham, her post was interpreted by many as celebrating the hard contact. That reaction added another layer to an already heated situation and showed just how divided opinions around Cunningham had become.
Even mention the fact that she said white privilege. That is the story. The story isn't that she got kicked out. It's that she tweeted out white privilege as though because Sophie Cunningham is white, somehow that's why she got kicked out. They go on to defend her, the story, the narrative that she's not a dirty player. She makes plays like this all the time. I put together a little clip of DiJONai Carrington, who is definitely one of the dirtiest players in the WNBA. I don't know if we can roll it, but she's taken her long fingernails. She's scratched Caitlin Clark's eyes out. She's had multiple instances of chasing people down from behind, trying the same swat and smashing them in the head and causing mini fights. She pulled another girl's hair. I don't know if we'll get to that clip in a second when she's falling. Totally dirty play. This is not a skin color thing. She has a history of making dirty plays, and it's fine. The NBA, you can be a rough and tumble league. Now, where this thing gets absolutely bananas is when you start making it into a race and culture war, and the people talking about it are not mentioning 99% of the time that she went back and tweeted white privilege. White privilege how?
Fever head coach Stephanie White offered a more measured assessment. She said she didn't believe Carrington intentionally targeted Cunningham's neck, while also acknowledging that the officials made the correct decision. Her comments focused on the competitive nature of the play rather than turning the incident into a personal or racial confrontation.
We are paying attention to what DIJONai Carrington did to Sophie Cunningham. It was not a race-based decision. And to call that a white privilege-based foul is to completely undermine the term of white privilege and to also completely ignore the rules in basketball. You hit her in the head, you drew blood, you didn't connect with the ball at all whatsoever. So to me, it was just very ignorant and to some degree asinine by DIJONai Carrington to suggest that that call was based on white privilege. Have we seen examples of white players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. Have we seen examples of black players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. There was no white privilege involved in that specific call. DIJONai, you hit her in the head and you drew blood. It was a flagrant.
At this point, the story had moved far beyond one foul. Fans were debating race, politics, player treatment, officiating, and the intense attention surrounding Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. What began as a single basketball incident had become another major controversy surrounding the league.
I've never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. I know you studied psych. Furthermore, I'm the last thing from ignorant or asinine when it comes to speaking on white privilege. Do your research on that one. I actually went to school, one of the top universities, might I add, to educate myself on this exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds, without having the proper evidence to substantiate it.
The biggest takeaway is that the basketball play and everything that happened afterward became two very different stories. The officials reviewed the contact and determined it deserved a flagrant 2. Carrington's social media post then opened an entirely separate debate about what she meant by white privilege. Her later clarification attempted to separate the two issues, but the timing ensured that the controversy would continue. And now the question remains. Was this simply a hard basketball play that spiraled into a social media firestorm, or did the aftermath reveal deeper tensions inside the WNBA?